سعيكم
أن تتوبوا من عيوبكم وخطاياكم تعالوا للطريق
ذا الوطن
ذا الوطن زي ما نمانيس
ذا الوطن
زي ما نمانيس تعالوا للطريق الفجر
سيبوا تعالوا
للطريق
ذا الوطن
زي ما نمانيس
ذا الوطن تعالوا للطريق يا أمتي الغازي يا أمة السودان
تعالوا للطريق
ذا الوطن
زي ما نمانيس
بلدي بلد كثير الخيرات فيه كل ثروات الزراعية والحيوانية والمعادن فكيف أكون جعان وكيف أكون عاريان وكيف أكون مرضان بدون دواء في بلدي الغنية.
10 states, 3 administrative areas, 1 nation, 1 people. Welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Madingor, and with us in the program is Bona Arech, the chairman of Arech Group Limited, and one of the Red Army of Cuba, who is assisting in nation building. This week on Fixing South Sudan, we profile Red Army movers and shakers in memory of the 39th anniversary of the SPLA, SPLM. Before we come to nation building, there was the revolution, and Bona Arech was part and parcel of it. He will tell us his story, his journey to build farm. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well,
I want to go back to history because in our context, history is also present. And where did you start your journey to build farm?
Thank you. In 83, after the Christmas, I was in the WOW, the 83. And then it was manifestation of a student in the WOW about the issue of Bentiu, Canal Jungule, and then it was manifestation in Busiri, different school in WOW. So it was a clash by the government of WOW, become the SPLA late hour, and then we left WOW in December to our village in Akon. We have one of businessmen they call Walwala Call. He have a lorry, and then all the students was based in WOW, and then Gogriel. The lorry took us from WOW straight to Akon. And that time, we went in big group, the students. Of course, I was very young compared with another brothers that was in the WOW in Busiris and different school. And then we went and we settled in a school in Akon. And that time, Jamus with Pagana Mom, they passed and went and they attacked garrison in Awul, where we didn't know knowledge about military. But in area, it was occupied by Anyanyatu, where there were the 3 group operators in all Great Barkizal, one of them Makol, Deng Majok, and Malonga 1, and then Bolmadut. So that people, they knew what is going on in Ethiopia and SPLA. But like a young, we didn't know too much. So the garrison of the Will, after the SPLA attack at Pagana Mom Jamus, so they come back through Akon, so they can join to Gorial. And then we didn't know. And then when they saw the mass of the students in Akon, then the shooting started. So we have to run.
The shooting started inside Akon town.
Yes. So this is what we ran. That what is the day we never come back to Akon.
You ran after?
Bush. Yeah. And we ran the area where it was operated of the Anyanya 2. And then the journey started moving from Akon to Tweed, Mayadi, Tweed to Apuk to Lona Rimorian, where the three groups were sit, but they didn't agree to move. The group was too big. If you put the Bolmadut and Malong and Makol, we cannot fit. So they divided Bolmadut to move back to Tony area, Apumpa Dodge. And then we turn it back to Apumpirti. So we have to hit it to Bentiu area, where they started fight really with the Nyanyatu, the part of the unity.
From Akon, you started moving. Can you tell us who were the people who were with you?
The young people like my age, I was with my brother Kolwal, was down there. One of Garangarias, Garangatak, Garangakot. The big people, I have another brother. We lost in the war, Arech. It was one really Czech with us. Nas Philip Nyon. I'm here now in the Bill farm. So it's too many groups. I know we move together. Some people, they lost their life. Some people, they're still alive until now.
What was the experience like in the journey? Tell us more about the journey to Bill farm.
The journey to Bill farm, the orientation it was given us by Anyanya 2 is where the soul come from. And they put us in the middle. Some they have a gun in the back and some in the front. So the more than we move at night. At daytime, we must look where people take the rest and helicopter of the enemy so they cannot bombard the people. Plus militias, the one who was operating with a Khartoum, is the ambushers. So it was really tough journey, and no food. We must, where we stop, sell something for the community to give us some food to eat, or maybe animal, or they shoot it wildlife to get the food. But the war never stopped in the whole journey until we reached Ngonglual. The way we took at least 3 days without no war. The people of Ngonglual give us the food and...
You were being attacked consistently on the way.
Yes, it's not done a day, no shooting. The shooting must be done there. Why the SPLA was differences with the Nyanya 2 in Afanal, like Nazgai 2, the Konatem, Adala Chual. All this group included the unity. There was really the ambushers.
They were hostile.
Yes, hostile until the last day. I remember we just across the Sobat to go Sajak. This is the borders, and that one it was really very shooting between Anyanya 2 and the what they call the SPLA, and the Tiger and Timsai was come to rescue us. So a lot of people died in that river.
When you joined the journey with a lot of young people, did you understand what you were going for, or were you just excited to move with people like you?
No, I was standing. The situation from the war when the student one, they was talking about Canal Jungule. They were talking about the oil in Unity. They was talking about the Marali. They was chases everybody in the Will and what they call a BI. So I have ideas why the people were moving to Ethiopia to get a gun, but I didn't get really how it looked like. But me, I was going to get a gun so I can come to defend the people of we live in the back home with the Maralin and all these things.
In the end, after reaching Bill Farm, tell us what became your role.
From Sajak, the last fight, I get injured in my leg, and then the helicopter arrived around 6. They brought Carbino, Nguyen, Dr. John, Salfa. This was a big group that come from Barkaza, and they received us in Sajak. 16,000. But I got injured in that shooting. It was started from Anyanyatu and SPLA, and then Tiger become, Tiger and Timsa. And we still confused. You see, when that time I was very young, when you see somebody is lashing like, and then it's not the Denka language and everything, he was still maybe going to be shooting. But they took me the same. We arrived to Sajak to Bilfam. The injured people, they took it and then they took us to Bilfam. So from Bilfam, I sleep like 3 days and then they took me to Eton, where the Dr. Keji was one day operated in Eton with Madame Jock. And then I started the treatment in Bilfam, in Eton. And after that I became okay, then they took me back to Bilfam, where they selected the young people to be called Jesh Amar. Then we start training in Bilfam, just in 84. And beginning the 84 for training. All the big people, they push it where? To Eton, to where to go to Bongo. Yeah. So we took 1 year's training, including we finished, and then when they took now the Jejaswa to Bongo, then now they took Jejamara again to Bongo.
For another training.
For another training. Until graduation of more, and then they took us back to Bilfam. They were the Dr. John. Before we come to Bilfam, it was the delegation of the Cuba. Negotiated with the SPLA to take young people to go for school. And then Dr. John said, yes, in Bilfam, you guys, Red Army, you must to go to Bilfam. We got a teacher, come from Cuba in Spanish. You start the training when you know how to ask water in Spanish, and then you go to Cuba. So from Bongo, we finished, and then they took us back to Bilfam. And then they brought the Cuban teacher to taught us in Spanish. And
when did they started teaching you Spanish in preparation for the journey?
For the journey to Cuba.
When was that?
This
you was went in 84.
It was
you trained in a year, 85.
85 we started school, and then 86 in January. Then when we start January, it was a December. Including we finished all the Christmas in the sea. It took us 30 days until New Year, the 86th day when we arrived to Cuba.
Did you object to being drafted as part of the people who were going to Cuba? What did you expect?
No, the school, first we was too many. And the school, it would need less than people it was in the school. So they do the test. If you approve, they give you document. But that time we don't have none of document. So it was just a paper signed by Commander-in-Chief now, Salva Kiir Mayadi. They give you a paper and they say you have to keep this one until you reach to Cuba. And if you lose, you have to come back.
How many of you ended up going to Cuba?
We were 619 total.
Taken in pieces?
In pieces, in twice. Yeah. One, we first, and then second, they use the what you call the flight.
Did you go with the first or the second group?
The second group.
And in Cuba, what was your experience like? You got a chance now to go to school. Tell me more.
The experience, Cuba, there was a different system where we come from. Cuba, they prepare you to prepare next generation to come. It's not what we know just to go to war, no. It gives you all the tools for the school, and you no pay nothing, just you work, part-time job after the school, then you go to collect the orange. All this is the way to pay your school. And after that, the more ideology they have, you work for people that give you free to give
To people.
next generation free. That what is the ideology they have. So for us, it was just take us and let John Garang was come every, if they delayed every 2 years, they go to Cuba and they sit with us. It was called, this is my battalion, Jejama. So we sit down and they say, I brought you here for two things. This war, we're going to head it along. And this war, we're going to lose the engineer, doctor, and everybody. So, to continuation of this war, that's what I brought you guys to be engineer, to be a doctor, to be agriculturist, to be anything so on. We win the war, so you come to build a country. So this is more important. You guys know why you guys here.
And when you were there, tell me about your education in Cuba. And it was in Spanish.
In Spanish, yes. When I wanted to label the secondary school, so I started grade 8, what they call Resakalai first, fresh for language. So Resakalai, and then grade 8, then 9. From down there, we went to high school normal. The system is like here. You go to high school 3 years more, and then from down there first, you must go to academy military.
They train you military?
They train you military. And then there was an agreement between our movement and government of the Cuba. The first batch was 3 groups ahead of me. That they come automatic to South Sudan when they finish in a military academy. But our base after we finished, it was the difficulties year. This is where it was a faction of Riek Machar, 91, and then the top us, I think late John Garang communicated, all this group now, they finished military academy are not needed. Just let us continue to university.
And what was the fear? Was the fear that you will be divided along ethnic lines?
It's not really, but it was the SPLA lost control to receive us twice. One, it was 91, when they arrived in Addis Ababa, and from Addis Ababa to Itang, the war started already. Magisto left, and Riek Machar left the same time. So we lost almost 90% that were colleagues. Second, when they brought them to Kampala, SPLA is not directed to receive the people in Kampala. So some people, Khartoum took them. Some people, is one, they came of Riek Machar, like you say, this is Nuer, and some they left to Nairobi to
people divided themselves.
And finally they finished where? In a refugees camp they call Ipo. And then they left everybody to America. And Cuba, was happy training the people, all these engineers, and finally they finished where? In the U.S.
After high school, did you go for further studies?
Yes, I went to university, economic. And soon we finished 97, and then there's no way to go to. Was no way.
And
so
now the Soviet Union was falling.
Yeah, it's fallen apart.
It had fallen.
Yeah. So again, the Cuba government communicated with the movement, and they say, we cannot keep these people. They graduated. It's not way to go. And we cannot ship them to Africa again. That one is not acceptable. So they have to negotiate it with the SPLA. But the United Nations come and interview us. We don't have none of paper to show you are South Sudanese. And then they interview where you come from in South Sudan, or Sudan that time, and then you explain. And then they say, okay, you write a different area where refugees of South Sudanese to confirm we are South Sudanese or not. Until they confirm, and then they say, okay, we're going to put you in the list of the nation they need the people for resettlement. Where is U.S., U.K., Norway, Australia, Canada. But a government of Cuba decided to know anywhere except Canada. And then what we end up?
Because of the Trudeau government.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
friendly to
Friendly
Castro.
to Castro. So
And how many of you came to Canada?
we were 320 first
Taken in phases?
spaces. The first place we were 230. The people graduated
in
first.
97, you made it to
97,
Canada.
Yeah, to Canada.
I want us to take a break from you.
Wajeni kaya lam nom lao lai gabal. Junubin chatare luam subya. Kebin kaya ber nom lao lai gabal. Junub da chatare luam bilpam. Wajeni kaya lam nom lao lai gabal. Junubin chatare luam subya. Kebin kaya ber nom lao lai gabal. Warillo, Mamuk Africa, Malta Isaka, Fanan al-Mazikha. Yana Junuba team. On your one who Kiria, on your one who Kiria, on your one who Kiria, I will check it, well, I'm Kiria, on your one who Kiria, Mama Waya, well, who Kiria, Dogma what, well, who Kiria, on your one who Kiria, on your one who Kiria, your day one who Kiria, your mother yard one who Kiria, hey. Yo, Avatar, Masa Perjasa, Masa Istaka, Mario Chocolate. Yana Junuba tea.
Diamond, Humberto Rejamus, Wawatari Gurjuazia, Natadam Yabiladuna, Wawatari Gurjuazia, Natadam Yabiladuna, Hebesora, Hebeshakia, Tahriruna, Yarabatarirna, Yaram Zajamus, Tahrir Sudan, Abdamin Nasir, Leshendi, Lekula Sudanuna, Yaina Junubna, Yain al Gharib, Istiraruna, Adana Taiba, Yabendi Wadana Taiba, Yanilu Wadana Aziz, Adana Taiba, Yabendi Wadana Taiba, Yanilu Wadana Aziz, Adana Taiba, Yabendi Wadana Taiba, Adana Taiba, Yabendi Wadana Taiba, Yanilu Wadana Aziz. Dabuloi dang jabdan Sudan jaga gwira piak. Dabuloi dang jabdan dari dang iji John garang mabira ye benda benda Sudan ye morngang nom. Buloi ni jamboni beri jaga dopingen. Kadia miar bai jaga dam kartumia kamsa jaga dam juga. Udang koryom malakal kurangalo gaya. Kujalgo ujung jaya satu saat jaya SPLA arona jada rajila mangere jaya niwe songki Tabulu dang cabdan tarir jaga gwirapat Tabulu dang wadan tarir dang iji John garang mabira ye benda Sudan ye morngang nong Buloi ni zambu ni meri jalala piandin Kadia miar bai jaga dam kartumia kamsa jaga dam juba Ujaga dindia jaga dirawa penyebar kasal Udam koryo malakal kurang baloi gaya Udam ujung kaya satu saat masyarena suku wirjanya sere Awona diaudara cila manggu jeninya songki Amen meja mogi juk Wah bijana lugar wana wala dang wade wari jilwe lonte jilwe lideng nyai wanam kamo juru matyang jibai wario wadia Padan junub jal kol ku kor lu wa bi jay na lu ger wa na wala tang wa jal jo ben do yong ku dil ke pin ku kor lu wa bi jay na lu ger wa na wala tang kor ya ba na to ko ya we ni jam junub ke kon wa ja rian na tar bai bu SPLM anyanya da chin ngol ku chor ke bai war yo wadya Sudan ku yo ni mer sin ga moy bijal wa bijal na du ge na wala tang wadya ka kol ku rer ku yo ni mer sin ga moy bijal wa bijal na du ge na wala tang dal jo ben dong ku dil ke pin ku kor lu wa bijay na lu ge na wala tang wadya ang tu kala tang ke kala san lo ken ke lo
Wai ber aliam nam de.
lát ngan đi
Cha de cha jan. Sini nun tawila. Sini nun tawila. بنطالب الحقائق ونقول هنالك الزور وانت ليلة تتطالب الحليبكم شيء مستحيل شيء مستحيل نقول لبلادنا روحنا ودمنا لبلادنا روحنا ودمنا مدفون من هذه الجبال مدفون من هذه الجبال أضرب استمرارنا بطريق انتصارنا من أداكم وجبات انتظامنا منكم أن تتوبوا من ويوكم وقراياكم انتظامنا منكم أن تتوبوا من ويوكم وقراياكم تعالوا للطريق زي الوطن
زي الوطن زي ما نعيش
زي الوطن
زي الوطن زي ما نعيش تعالوا للطريق
سيبوا تعال
تعالوا للطريق
زي الوطن زي الوطن
زي ما نعيش
زي الوطن
زي الوطن
تعالوا للطريق سيبوا تعال أين بجال هذا يا أمتي الغازي يا أمة سوداننا يا أمتي يا أمة سوداننا علي وتعال سيبوا تعال انتهينا.
This is an honoring poem. It is dedicated to our liberators, both the soldiers and the civilians. Now, listen. I honored you, our veterans. I honored you from 1955 to 1972, and of 1983 to 2005. I salute those who are alive, and I respect and honor those who are dead. May their souls rest in glory. Because without you, they will have no gain of a victory. And for your certainty is the fight of humanity. Justice, liberty, and prosperity comes as land of unity. And behold, South Sudan, so home's a veteran soul with no doubt. Heroes and heroines, you are the torch and the light of this nation. Due to starvation you will own. You defend our nation. You defended our nation with love and humanity that was built inside you. So, comrade, tabitakun kan maru, kamotoro, alkupa vidar, kambelila, ukamambre, altakunakolo mudun mula, unum figaba fikanadik, mudun mesia, mudun moya native. Hile besa, waja chade chapi, ya ukan maruf. Lakini takun masibu, ashanena biligo, uriya zahalela. So shukran. Shukran sa our veterans. Shukran min dum takun al-kubu, ashan beled Junub Sudan. And even though some lost their lives and left wounded, you will never be forgotten, but remain as a hero for the victory and the freedom that you brought to us. I am a South Sudanese soldier. I am the face and the eye of my country. Wa shukran.
Amuna minnakum.
Anda tubu miloyu wakumagaraya kumwatar. Dalu dalu le karim.
Zel watan.
Zel watan zayyana numanaysu.
Zel watan.
Zel watan zayyana numanaysu.
Utal.
Dalu 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 le karim.
Si butal.
Dalu 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 le karim.
Zel watan.
Zel watan zayyana numanaysu.
Zel watan.
Numanaysu.
Utal. Talu 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 le tari. Butal. Oh, ya ummati al-ghazi, ya ummati Sudan nadat.
Dalu dalu le karim.
Zel watan.
Zel watan zayyana numanaysu.
Welcome back to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Madingor. This week on Fixing South Sudan, a profile of Red Army movers and shakers in memory of the 39th anniversary of the founding of the SPLA, SPLM. And in this interview, we host Bona Arech, the chairman of Arech Group Limited and one of the Red Army of Cuba, who is helping in nation building. He spoke about the indoctrination that the SPLM gave to them, the inspiration of what they are doing stems back to the history of being a Red Army. In Canada, you made it to Canada. There were many of you. What would you say is the most important thing you learned from Cuba?
In Cuba, we learn a lot of things. We learn a lot, especially how to build a nation, how you believe like a human being you can do in yourself without waiting for somebody. Cuba give us the chance to train us in a different, like a military and a professional, like a civilian, and to love ourselves. The long we say in Cuba, 12 years, some they have more than 12 years, we didn't have this character to divide ourselves. This is the Denka, this is the Nuer, this. We was a different group, and we learned the culture of Cuba. Cuba, they don't have these differences between the people of the Cuba. And then we survive. So it's nothing for us more tough like when the Soviet Union is collapsed. Now, left Cuba to Canada, this is another world. It's another world totally different, where you can
One
live.
is a communist world and one is a capitalist world.
Where in Canada you can live 30 years in the same building and you don't know who's your neighbor or whatever. If they see you, say hi. So this is the experience, the different.
And how did your life go in Canada? What were you doing in Canada to survive?
I did a lot of job in Canada, my friend.
Your degree did not apply.
No. People, they lie. They say when you're in the West, you get the money easy, and I will do like doctor or no. That one is not the reality.
And in Canada, you have to pay rent.
Of course, you have to pay everything.
Pay bills.
Exactly.
You had to work for survival.
Yeah.
So you did all kinds of jobs to survive.
Everything.
At what point did you decide to come back to South Sudan or Southern Sudan then, and why?
In 2002, this is this, after a long period, we didn't meet with the chairman, late John Garang. Late John Garang went to Washington, D.C. That time we cannot go to Cuba again. It's not the way. And it's when Arech was turned from Khartoum to SPLA. So that reconciliation took them, Arech and late John Garang, to Washington, D.C. It was a lot of comrades. It was like Neil Deng Nial, Mansour Khaled, Yasser Rahman, all the SPLA leaders, except Kwal Manyang and Kir, the one who was left here. But everybody was moved from here, Nairobi, London. That the conference, that was late John Garang and said, okay, I need at least 5 from my Red Army, the one in Canada, to be in that conference. And I was selected 1, me, Deng Aler, Ohista, Julia Amon, another one of my colleagues, 5. So we drive from Toronto. Especially, we reached to Washington, and then before the meeting took off, the conference in Washington, D.C., Lady Organ said, I want to sit with you 5 alone. And it was first to say, I know you guys suffer, and just tell us the back around here in Sudan, what is going on, and why this conference is very important, and why it's important we come back again to be SPLA with Riek Machar with this crisis. Our division, they give us to be a week. So you guys, I know you're not happy, but we want you to forgive Riek Machar. We know when we go back to Hall later in America, Georgia University. So I know when you guys scream about the Riek and all this. And
this is around the time when the peace talk began immediately.
Yes.
And the SPLA had to reunite so that they negotiate with the North.
To be strong.
From there, you decided to come back.
Yes. Let John Garang say, you guys become, you finish your school and everything, and I need you guys to come to support. And the peace is coming, and it's the time now the nation needs you guys to come back. So this is what I decided to move back in that. I just took 2 weeks more to prepare myself, and I quit my job. Jump in, and then Nairobi, first time to come to Nairobi. And then from Nairobi, Logochogo, new site.
In the West, when you quit your job, it is consequential because there are consequences. But when you decided to quit your job, did you feel that you are going to get something bigger?
No, I knew I not get nothing bigger in South Sudan, but mentally I prepared. I can come to help, and it's more important. This is what they took me for school and to prepare to come to help when they need me. So it was a shock to all my bosses, all my colleagues. A lot of people cry. What they know in Sudan at that time, just people gonna die and all these things. But I knew things are gonna be okay, and it's my duty to come back to my people to help.
Part of the motivation for this interview is the fact that the SPLA, SPLM was grooming the Red Army for the pace ahead, nation building, and in your own language, you call it the war of development. What have you been doing in South Sudan? You are a business person, and what is your philosophy?
After we signed the CPA, really, I was still in the army. We didn't know South Sudan they're going to be a nation. It was like a break for us and to go back to war. That's what was in their mind. The CPA is to give us the break and prepare more, and then to go to war. But in 2006, I decided to tell my comrade Uyai, I must to go for business. I have another vision and I can help people of South Sudan in another way. But when the war is coming, I still have my Kalashnikov and my uniform, and I'm going to join the war. It was difficult for them to give me a chance to go for business, but I convinced them. Why? And I tell you, it was very simple. When we come here in Juba, with a bicycle, for us, nothing. So I saw a lot of opportunity, including the first that come in my mind, I want to bring all the car the SPLA needed and the government of South Sudan.
And where were you going to get the capital from?
But that what is this what we
that
call this our government is our government. And then they was asked me, you know where you can get the car? They have ideas where are you to come from? They know Japan, but Japan we language. And I say I can do it. Just they say okay.
Which year was that?
This is 2006. And then they say, okay, we're going to try you. Of course, they didn't trust everybody. You have a background, you come from Canada, maybe you're going to get the money from the government, and then you go back. And the discussion included, they called the Minister of Finance. And Minister of Finance said, okay, we're going to try you for 150 car. If you bring it, then we'll give you all this. And that was the time of the Arthur Bakuyan. When we signed the contract, the Minister of Justice, it was Uncle Michael McQuillan. And less than 3 weeks, I brought all the cars.
You delivered?
I delivered.
And that's the beginning of your business?
Yeah, the business.
And what have you been doing over time? In introducing you, we have been speaking about Arech Group. Yeah. What is Arech Group?
Arech Group is a different company, like the car we were called Arech Motor. And then after that, we moved to oil field. When we see we were needed to do the road in oil field, they call Access Road in Unity in 2008. So we bought all the equipment and we put Arech Petroleum in that one. And after that, we opened the bank. We saw we need facilitated or financial everything. We must to build the bank, and then we brought our first bank. Bank, yeah. And we move, included now we have a road sign, especially the Malakal Bridge. We're going to start building if the government get financial facilities. And we have a real estate. We supply all the fuel, especially refined product, to oil field people, to Unity.
You have recently completed a depot.
Yes. And we are building a big depot, 10 million liter here in Juba. And we have the big one is Arech Petroleum, where it's combined with the 4 countries. They call North Corridor. So we was one. They have a license to supply South Sudan. They call OTS. No other company, including Alpet, they cannot get that one. There was agreement for 4 countries.
I want to end with your recent investment, which is not your last. And you decided to build?
We built a hospital with a specification where we see our people, they need a service. And all this one, and I told everybody, we do it, the face why the people who died in South Sudan, the warriors was go to school. So I finished my school, and the people, they need a service. So I have to pay them back. There's the people, they give me a chance to go to school. You know, it was a war. Maybe I was now in a village.
Without the war, you would have not been out of a country.
Exactly. And I think this is a priority to young people. We get a chance. So we have to do something, give the service to our people to appreciate what they give us the chance to do this, and then to build our nation. So we put this hospital up purpose. Everybody have to go to Nairobi for check-up. We have to go to India to do what? And we have doctors. We have equipment. We have resources.
And there's money.
And there's no money. But the money we have to fly it outside. So I think this is another, we start to give the service to people of South Sudan, and we have to still more. I think every time I know sleep well, when I see some people, they can sleep with hunger. And we have fertile land, a lot of water. If the peace really to be materialized,
you will go to
nobody is going to be here. I go for
agriculture
agriculture and education
and many other sectors.
Another sector.
In this program, we speak of fixing South Sudan. Does the Red Army have what it takes to fix South Sudan?
I think we have a lot of people qualified in the Red Army to fix the South Sudan. Is how to bring the service to people of South Sudan. And then what the people, they're going to love this country. And then the refugees, they're going to come back. And then the pressure of the government, they're going to come down. And then the government, they're going to get the money when they tax people to do the service.
We are speaking in the anticipation of 16 May commemoration. Why is it important to remember the heroes and heroines who made this country possible?
I think 16th May, this is the historically, the beginning of the movement, where now we get a nation. Our nation is really, this is the first step they done. And that's what these people, they give it all life to liberate this nation. So 16th May is what we call Junuba Sudan Agana. Without 16th May, we cannot sit in today and we're talking here. It's nothing like this. Now we started in Anyanya 1. Before Anyanya 1, it was the rebel, Anyanya 2. And never we got what we have today. So I think this is a day for us, like any citizen of South Sudan, to say, I'm a South Sudanese.
Honorable Bola Arech, thanks for coming to Fixing South Sudan.
Thank you, Madinga.
Okay.
Mamuna minnakum
Anda tubu miloyu wa kumagaraya kumwatar talu talu le karim
zel watan
zel watan zayman manaysu
zel watan
zayman manaysu
otal
talu 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 le karim
si butal الوطن زي الوطن
زي ما نيسو
زي الوطن وتعال تعالوا 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 لطريق وتعال يا أمتي الغازي يا أمة السودان
تعالوا تعالوا لطريق
زي الوطن
زي الوطن